I have a bit of a problem. You see, ever since I dug this hole, people have non-stop been making jokes about it. Granted, we are all in our teens on this server, and hole is probably the second funniest word we all know, second only to balls. But I have decided that these jokes need to stop, and I know just the way. Should have never dug a hole. I should have done something simple, like build a house. Something without innuendos. Okay, the hole does need filling, but not like that. Because, in case you've forgotten, the ultimate goal is to make a neon city down there, so the hole does need to be filled, but not with pure blocks. With buildings, with lights, with life. My plan today was to start the first building, but I realized I don't have the materials. For this building, we're gonna need mud, and I do not have a way of getting mud. Now, I could just go and mine some mud, but that would leave a mangrove biome looking terrible, and I don't want that. That's bad for the environment. So instead, I decided, let's make a mud farm. So I went on YouTube and started searching for them. But as I was watching a video by El Mango, I realized I want to make one myself. That sounds like a lot more fun. Now, I'm not the smartest guy out there, and I definitely haven't made a mud farm before. So I am essentially just gonna have to try to figure out how they work and see if I can make one on Oblivion. See, this right here. This is mud. It's a great block because it's very dark and it's very, very beautiful. Look at this. Look at that mud. To generate this stuff, what you do is you need dirt, you need a water bottle, and you click the dirt with the water bottle, and now you got mud, and then you can mine it. So essentially, this farm needs 4 steps. Place the dirt, fill the water bottle, convert the dirt into mud, and then mine the mud. I've been really thinking about places to build this thing, and I realized that over here, very far from spawn, are just 2 random rocks that no one is using. So I'm just gonna build it inside these rocks. Okay, so my first test for this is, if I have a waterlogged mangrove root of all blocks, and I click this with a water bottle, it does fill up. Now, what if I have it in my off hand and dirt in the main hand? Then I place dirt, yeah. Now what about the other way around? Okay, that doesn't work. Okay, second question. If we have a dispenser with a water bottle, and we have a dirt block, and we power it, it does turn into mud. Okay, this is good. If we fill this with water bottles, place a redstone torch, and do this, that does instantly turn into mud. Now I need a way to constantly funnel water bottles into this thing. Okay, so if I place a hopper here, preferably I'd want it so that only empty bottles get funneled out. Now with a system like this, when we put in a glass bottle, and in case you couldn't tell, that was a of failure. Now, with the simple item sorter in place, this means that if I put in water bottles here, they stay, but an empty bottle gets put into here. This is how we filter out the empty glass bottles to recycle them back into the system. Now, see, this is interesting. If we put in an empty glass bottle in front of water in a dispenser and we fire it, that fills with water. If we trigger it again, it gets tossed out. I think this is perfect for what I have in mind. So after doing the very scary thing of using water in a redstone contraption, in theory, if we have an empty bottle in here, and I trigger this, becomes a water bottle, trigger it again, it gets shot up, and gets put into this dispenser. That's perfect. That's great. The system is pretty much done. If we just make a quick toggleable observer clock, place a lever And if I just do this... Now, if I place a dirt block, turns into mud, and the bottle gets shot through. And it's been recycled. This is dope! It's just a mud generator. Okay, it's time for the full test. Start in the offhand, hold shift. Something's off. Alright, I didn't turn it on. This looks like it runs indefinitely. This is great. We just have a mud generator now. And just in this random rock that I found. Isn't that cool? And it's really simple too, and I'm really happy with this. Alright, well, I'm gonna run this thing for a hot second. I'll see you later. Here's a quick mid-video reminder to remind you to subscribe. According to statistics, only about 60% of you are actually subscribed. So if you did, that would really help me out. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Back to the video. That's enough mud. Let's do some real work. Now, in the last episode, we built these things under the OTS. And the purpose of these, well, it was to decrease the amount of signals in the system at one time. We want to make sure there's only one signal in the system, because when there are more, problems start happening. And so we made this. Now, at the time of building this, we thought that was everything. But then we realized that not quite. You see, this is the crossroads. This is where you change direction and you go to a place, right? What happens here is that the signal gets branched out into the right, into this signal, and to the left, into this signal. Now this causes breaking. This means that there are still like 4 signals in the system at the same time, which, as I've said, is bad. So me and Simon have had to redesign the crossroads a little bit to account for this. And that's what we're going to be doing now.
Wait, did
I'm going right now. Gonna send me to the left.
Yeah.
It did.
The signal. It worked.
Does that mean that when we just install this everywhere, it will all work?
I mean, I can't see a single problem with this, so no.
Okay, here's post-production Matthew to explain what happened, because this took a long time. This was 2 hours of dedicated designing and thinking, and it was not as straightforward as we had hoped. So previously, this was all we had. We had a decoder, a red coder, and the crossroads itself. Now, as I said, this meant that when we sent in a signal through here, it went in that direction, and it also went in this direction. Now this means that there are a bunch of signals outside the render distance which break stuff, right? Now, what we did to fix this is this. So immediately you can see that there's some stuff below here. This is a little device that I designed, actually. So essentially what this does is currently we're headed in this direction because this line is turned off, right? And it saves that and makes it so that the signal can only release in that direction. It tries in all these directions, but these comparators are locked, so it only sends in this direction. Now we have like a long line of repeaters that unlocks it after a certain amount of time. This also means that we had to invent this component, which we call the sideway, jokingly enough, as we call this the two-way. It's a two-way repeater. And this is a sideway, because it's to the side, which essentially makes it so that signals don't send back, and that all this works. It was a long and arduous process, but it worked out, and I'm really happy about it. This means that the Redstone for OTS is done, okay? it is done. Now all we need to do is just the very long and grindy process of just hooking all of this up with the new components, as opposed to the old components. But after that, we'll have a fully working system. In case you're enjoying this Oblivion content and you want to see more, I have a Twitch. You can go follow my Twitch, link in the description, where we do quite a lot of this stuff. A lot of grinding happens on there and some building. So if you don't want to miss out, that's the place to go. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Matthew